Stub sign here. In this clip, I'm going to make a script that will cycle backwards through a wallpaper list file. In a previous video, I created a script called NBG for next background. Here's how this script works. It creates a variable called bglist and sets that equal to a file name. That file name has a list of images. Then I take the very first line of that file, which will be the next background, and I set it. I then take everything but the first line and send that to a new file, and then append my background to that. And then move the new file on top of the old file. Just to show you how this works once again, let's look at my wallpaper list file. When I execute next background, and then look at my wallpaper list file again, it took this image, it made it the current background, and then it moved that line down to the bottom. There it is. This file will be the next background. This file is the previous background. This line is the current background. So let's look at how I'm going to do a previous background command. Start with the same. Let's set a variable equal to the bglist. And I'm going to create a new variable for the previous background. I'm going to set that equal to tail-2. This will take the bglist file and send me the last two lines. Then I'm going to send that to the head command and grab the first line. In other words, this will grab the second to the last line of the file. Let's go ahead and echo that. Go ahead and use the sway message command to set that. Alright. This will figure out what the previous background is and it'll set it, but it's not going to move the lines around in the file. Let's see if this works so far. So once again, the previous background at this point should be this file here. Let's see. Oops, I will need to make the PBG executable. There we go. Okay, that works. It has found the second to the last line in the file, and it has set that as my wallpaper. Now, if I continue to execute this, it's just going to give me the same file. I have not actually changed the wallpaper list, so let's do that. Okay, so what do I want to do here? I need to figure out what the current wallpaper was. So let's figure that out. Current background. And if you remember, that was the very last line of the file. So tail-1 bglist. I'm going to echo that current background into my new wallpaper list. Because remember, the current background is going to become the new next background. Seems screwy, but that's how it's going to work. So I'm going to put it at the very first line of the new background list. And then I'm going to use the head command to give me everything but the last line of the file, because I've already moved the last line up to the top. Let's do that. Just like the tail command, I have a -n option. I use the -1 to show me everything but the last line of the file. That's what the head command will do. I'm going to append that to the new file. Let's see how this works. Okay, so now I have my new wallpaper list. Let's compare both the wallpaper list files. So the original wallpaper list shows this file. Next, the new one, you see that one's actually moved down. This line has moved up to the top, and everything else is shifted down. So that's working. The last thing we got to do to actually finish this up is to do a move. We're going to move the new background list on top of the old background list. So PBG, PBG, there we go. Previous background, next background. So I can sit here and toggle between next background, previous background, next background. And so I've created two commands, put them both into my bin folder, MBG and PBG, along with two other commands. CHBG I wrote before, and that's used to change a background. That still works. I can do CHBG downloads. Let's just give it this file. But that doesn't change my position in the file. So I wrote another little script. Let's look at it. Called CBG, current file, current background. It's pretty simple. All this does is restore my background to where it should be in the list. It's pretty straightforward. Same as the other files. I create a variable equal to my wallpaper list file. The current background is the very last line of that file, so I will set that as the current background, and then I will echo what that is. So I can do a CBG. And even though I had used my change background command to just display an arbitrary file, the CBG, or current background, restores my background to where it should be in the list of cycling wallpapers. That's all I got for you today. Y'all have a great one.